I want to tell you that music can be your talent. Talents are things that started as a desire and they grow with practice and persistence and help from the Spirit. I didn't start out knowing how to play the piano, and I didn't start out knowing how to sing, and I didn't start out knowing how to do hair. I had people before me who I watched, and I had a desire to do the same things that they were doing. So I practiced. With hair, I would practice in the middle of the night, French braiding my hair. And when I did it, the first time it looked like I had slept in it for 5 days. When I first was learning music, I was just little, making up random songs that meant nothing on the piano, and my grandma would tell me I was doing a great job. And when I first was learning how to sing, the first thing I remember was in 3rd grade. Must be 3rd. No, 4th grade was the first experience that I had with singing. And my teacher randomly one day told us, if you want to sing good, you just keep your tongue down behind your teeth, and then your mouth is open and you can sing. And that was all he said. And it was years before I learned anything else about music after that. I also came from the generation where we listened to Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera and NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and they actually sang songs and harmonies, and like Christina Aguilera was amazing with her high notes and her powerful notes. So I would listen to these songs and sing along over and over and over again. Music comes from practice. Hair comes from practice. Art comes from practice. And it takes years. It's not going to happen right now. It's not going to happen in 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. It's going to take a lot of time. And there were times that I wanted to quit music, and times that I've cried during lessons and had to cut them short and go home and recoup and come back the next time. So I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of music in particular, specifically piano, because that's like my number one instrument. So the first thing you want to learn is what the notes are on the keyboard. And that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So the furthest left white note is A. And there are 2 black notes and 3 black notes, and they go in a pattern to help you recognize where they are. So every A note is going to be in the middle right-hand side of the 3 black notes. So you can find all the A's on the keyboard. And that's like the second thing you're going to do. Find all the A's on the keyboard, then all the B's, and so on through G. And then you want to learn your scales. And so you just do C, D, E, F, G, and then back down, G, F, E, D, C. Another thing you need to know is you're going to number your fingers. So your thumbs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to practice that so you can know them effortlessly without thinking. So my teacher would tell me you can do it on your table, you could do it on your chest. When you're sleeping at night, you could do it on your legs. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever you need to do, just practice that all the time until it's effortless in your mind. The thing that I've learned, because I don't know if I posted the video where I said this, because I made a couple other videos, but I just keep saying like and in them, and it's driving me crazy. So I don't want to post those. I'll probably redo them because I feel like the things that I said are important messages. But the thing that I realized was a missing thing before my first lessons, because when I went to lessons, the very beginning, they would just teach you to read the music and play the music at the same time. And that takes a lot of connection in your brain that I just felt I didn't understand and I didn't get it. And I felt like there was something missing. There was previous lessons that I didn't get before I could get to this point, and it just felt so hard. And now I realize that there are like two sides of the equation that you have to learn first before you can connect them. And in psychology, they talk about synapses in your brain. And when you're learning something new, the synapse will connect from one cell to the other, and it takes a lot of time. And if you learn it slow and correctly, those synapses can form pretty straight. And once they're formed, they just zip really fast. But if you try to learn something, but you learn it too fast, so you don't actually grasp everything and you don't learn it correctly, then it can be kind of like a maze before it can connect to the end cell. So when it tries to zip through, it's still kind of slow. So the one thing that I've learned that's so powerful in music is that the slower you learn something correctly, the faster you learn it, the faster you can do it and play and think, and it becomes effortless. And those synapses, when they connect straight and accurately, they just zip so fast. So when I first was learning this, I discovered that if I played so slow that it would drive me crazy and I could barely handle it, I could actually learn a super difficult song in one day. But if I tried to go fast, or if I lost my patience and started playing it fast before I was actually ready and connected those synapses slow and effortlessly or straight or perfect or the shortest distance that you could connect them, then I could not learn that song in one day. And actually, it would take longer to go back and correct the mistakes that I had made in my mind and in my fingers, because your muscles have muscle memory. So when you practice something slow and correctly, that gets in your muscle memory. When you start playing it fast, it's in your muscle memory. You could play it perfect every time because it's in your muscle memory. But you have to, and this is how I would teach it to my students, that you have to go so slow that your brain, because your brain is like a survival mode type brain. It wants to be lazy. It wants to be effortless. It wants to just sit back and be comforted. But you want to go so slow that your brain is annoyed, like sitting on the couch. It's in the back of your mind. Like your eyes are up here, but your brain wants to be back here. And you go so slow, your brain is just frustrated and gets up off the couch and then comes up and meets into your eyes. Your brain's eyes come to your eyes and you're fully focused, paying attention. That's when you can do it correctly, when your brain is actually paying attention. I'm not good at editing, so I wanted to try and say everything without having to click the buttons a bunch of times. Maybe eventually I'll get to that point, but I am not there. So, just trying to think of where I left off before. So there's two points in your mind that you need to learn before you can just start playing and reading music to play. So you have to know the keyboard. That's one half of your brain, or one synapse that you need to connect, is learning the keys on the keyboard. So that's the white notes, A, B, C, D, F, G, repeated. You can find every A, you can find every B until the G's. the black notes end up being important too. Half step up on the black note is a sharp, half step down is a flat. I don't want to show you on here because I don't know if it would be backwards or not. But the other synapse is reading the notes. So you have to read things separately, and that's where the whole CDE method came into play, because I realized that with learning something so slow, you also need to learn things so simple. And if you keep everything super simple from the beginning, as you grow and build on that, it always stays simple. And the same thing when you practice something so slow that your brain is up off the couch of its comfort and starts paying attention, then what was I gonna say? You get up off the couch, your brain gets off the couch. When you practice it so slow, your brain's paying attention, it's easy. And you're doing it so slow, and it just is like, you want to go so slow that it's childlike easy. And as you keep doing that, keep practicing, you're naturally going to get faster. And then as you get faster, it stays in your mind that same level of easy. So you want everything to be easy. So I just start with C, D, and E notes. And if you learn C, D, and E, like reading it on the paper in every level of the keyboard, then you've just learned the whole entire keyboard. You know every C, D, and E. So you learn to read it first on a paper, and you read the notes, and you say, this is a C, this is a D, this is an E. This is E, D, C, 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 D, 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 E, whatever. So I've written out on the paper every way that you could put in a pattern with 3 notes, C, D, and E. And then I repeat that, like even using the ledger lines. Ledger lines are like, you have 5 lines on a staff. If you were to keep going, the staff would be huge, but you don't draw a full staff. You just draw a little section of the staff up above the staff or below the staff, and then those are called ledger lines. So even using ledger lines, I'll just put it at like different sections of the keyboard, and then you have to read those notes at that section. But when you read those notes at that section, it's so easy. It's just C, D, and E, and you already know C, D, and E, and you know what it looks like because they're at different heights on the staff. So I want to create a website where I share these so that you can have access to them. If anyone knows how to make a website or what I should use, or I don't know, I think my husband said he knows and he would help me. I just haven't gotten there yet. Actually, the computer that I had written a bunch of music on and all my CDE stuff on got a hole in the screen. So I also have to figure out how to pull all the information from the inside of the computer into another computer and then get access to all that to be able to share it. I do have it printed somewhere, but we just moved in, so I don't even know where yet. Anyway, I just wanted to share that method that I've developed, and that it starts easy, it stays easy. As you develop things in your mind, then you are able to connect those synapses straight and easy. You can connect them together where you then can read the music and you know where they are on the keyboard. You connect that synapse, and then you're able to sight read and play music anywhere on the keyboard because you've already done the simple thing of just C, D, and E, and then F, G, A, and B. So they're all like separate. But they're all over the whole keyboard, and through repetition, it becomes effortless. Just like doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 becomes mindless and effortless. So it's really fun for me to teach. It's really easy, this method. Then the next thing is to learn the circle of fifths. So the circle of fifths, once you connect all these in your brain and make those easy. You use the circle of fifths and you just plug into this whole world of everything. So in the circle of fifths, C is at the top, and all you have to do is memorize the little saying, and which is Carolyn gets dizzy and eats butterflies for the sharp side, going around. For me, it's this way. The sharp side is on the right hand side. I don't know if it looks like that for you. Carolyn gets dizzy and eats butterflies, and then Carolyn finds beads, and you spell out the word bead. So if you have C, that has 0 sharps and flats, and then you play only the white notes. So and the key of C, you start on the note C, and you can play your scales, and then you learn chords. So you just learn the 1 chord, and a chord is when you use the 1, 3, 5 fingers. So every other note, it makes a chord. So you play a chord, and then that's C, D, and E. So that's a 1 chord. And if you just make each finger go up 1 white note, that's the 2nd chord. And then a 3rd, and then a 4th, a 5th, 6th, 7th, and then 8 is just 1 again, but we call it an octave. So you learn your scales, you learn your chords, you learn fancy things like arpeggios, which is just a chord plus the 1 note an octave higher and back down again, and then it sounds fancy. And you learn the different sounds and tones of each chord, and that's how you build songs. So you just pick what chords do you want to use in a song. Like you pick 4 chords, and as long as you're in that key based on the circle of fifths, which helps you to know what key you're in, then you know what keys. Like in the key of C, you only use white notes, so it's super easy. If you go Carolyn gets has 1 sharp, which is an F sharp, which you learn when you just memorize the circle of fifths. So then you start in G. So a G uses your 1 finger. You build on the chord from G, and that's your 1 chord. And then after G, you go to A, that's the next note up, and then that's your 2 chord, and then so forth. And then when you already know what the chord sounds and tones mean and sound like some chords are pop sounds, and some chords are sad, and some chords are happy, and they just have different feelings to them. Then no matter what key you're in, you just pick 4 chords to start with, and you can build a song. And then you learn inversions of chords. So inversions end up being really simple as well. But inversions can, instead of sounding so simple when you're making your song, if you use an inverted chord, it can sound like people can't really tell why it sounds so good, but it can sound so good and so musical and so powerful. I don't know. The moods just change, but it's so slight that it's not like boring, basically. So that's like really all you have to do to get through music to making a song. And I don't know if it sounds hard to you now, but I just wanted to share this video and give a whole overview. So once you read the notes separately, you learn the notes separately, you can put them together. And once you put them together, you just learn the circle of fifths. And once you've learned the circle of fifths, you can learn scales in each key, and you can learn chords in each key, and then you invert the chords and you do arpeggios, and that's the basics of everything. And then that's it. So if you just pick 4 chords and then make a song, then you don't even need music. You don't need to read music. You can just play whatever you want. And you just practice at the piano. So you just practice going around the circle of fifths and playing all your scales and playing all your chords. That's how you play without reading music. And that's how you make songs, just by sitting down. But it is a lot easier to make songs if you can write it down. I'm not very good at memorizing and holding on to that information, so I need to write it down. But when you've practiced reading the notes and playing them by reading them, then it's easier to just write it down really fast. So I would encourage you to do all of it, do both of it. Another thing you can do with the circle of fifths is if you have a song in the key of C, and maybe that's hard for you to sing in that register, you could use the circle of fifths to find what key do you sound good in, and then you just shift everything around the circle of fifths to whatever key sounds good. And then, so if you start like in the key of C and that doesn't work for you, but the key of E works for you, you just move from the key of C to a key of E, and then all the buildup of those notes stays the same. So you just have to change to know how many sharps need to stay now, like how many sharps you need to play when you read that music now, instead of having only white notes. So you can pretty much do anything you want as soon as you learn to read, as soon as you learn what the notes are on the keyboard, and then as soon as you learn the circle of fifths. And those are really the only things that you need, and then just practicing them. So I do want to show you eventually how to do all of that. It does take time, so it's not just going to be a thing that happens right now, but it is easy the whole time doing it this way. So I don't know, I'm hopeful, I'm excited, and I think that it's important that more people do music. I think it's something that's kind of dwindling away, and then our options become less, and then we only have what messages, whoever wants the messages to go out to be. That's all we'll have to listen to. And I know that so many people want to please God and worship God and make songs for Him, whether it's about Him or just wholesome for the rest of us. I want that. And I think that's the reason that I've been pushed into this, is because I've always been, I feel addicted to music, and I would listen to the radio all night long, and I just would have my CDs playing nonstop. I was always listening to music, but when it started becoming less wholesome, I stopped listening to music, and then I feel like my life wasn't really the same anymore. It wasn't as exciting to sit in my room in the sun and clean it while listening to music, or dance around and make up little things, little dances. It's just, I don't know, life is less fun, I feel like, with less music. And so I just felt this urge, like I wish more people would come out and make music, but then it just really wasn't happening. And I think TikTok has been great. There's been so many people that put songs on TikTok, and now we can find them and hear them, and that's great. And I think that's a really good resource to use if you want to write music and try to find people to find you. I think YouTube is also pretty great. It's a little bit more visual, I feel like, and sometimes I feel like YouTube needs to be more professional than TikTok. I feel like TikTok is more like we're all talking to each other and socializing, but YouTube is like a presentation. So maybe YouTube would be better if you like made music videos and then share it that way, but TikTok can really be like multiple videos of just showing little clips of your progression. And then eventually, I don't know. I don't know yet how to do everything for recording and posting. I know you have to go through like a third-party thing before you could do anything on iTunes or whatever other music platforms there are. But as I learn those things, I also want to share those things. So anyway, thanks for listening to my video, and I don't know if you're new or if you've been a subscriber for a long time. I used to have like 800 subscribers, and I've lost a lot of them since I was talking about other things besides music. I think that I do want to share some other things because they're just always in my head and I wish I could share them with people. And I realize that sharing those things isn't necessary for like my video content, but I think it is necessary for me because it helps me to get all that clutter out of my brain and make room for progression with music. So you can listen to those videos if you want to, and that would be cool. But if you just want the music videos, I also understand that. So anyway, I need to stop saying so and like a lot. I gotta figure that out. Anyway, thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll be brave enough to post more stuff so I can share how to make music, and just know that I love you so much.